Hey everybody, it's Paul. We're in my studio. We're gonna go over pedals today. I have a big pedal collection. Actually, it's not that big, but it's fun. It's things we use for doing tracks. So let's go. So I'm known for not using pedals live. I like plugging straight into the amp, but when you're in the studio, very often you gotta grab a pedal to plug into. So I have a few here that I wanna show everybody. So let's jump right in. This is a jam pedal, a Waterfall. It has two positions, an out of phase chorus and a regular chorus. I've got it in regular chorus. I really like it, but before we do that, I'm gonna show you how it sounds if I just plug the guitar straight in. It's a pretty clean tone. So here we go. A beautiful sounding pedal. We use it all the time. Jam Waterfall, top 5. This is a Pearl octave pedal, and it sounds wonderful. It's one of my favorite pedals that I own. So we have a little Echoplex pedal here. It's been modified, but it's a boost pedal. So if I turn it on, it gives a it kind of adds some high-end encourage to the sound. So this is a Dr. Scientist chorus pedal, and it's very hard to control. But in its gentle position, it's got an angelic tone that I like. We use it. It's cool. So this is one of my favorite pedals. This is an Electra flanger. Here's an earlier one and a later one. I was in a booth at the Vintage Guitar Show that Tam had. He says, I think I got a pedal you like. It's wild sounding. This is what he showed me, and I just loved it. But one of the really cool things is if you turn the speed up, it sounds a lot like a Leslie. This thing's wonderful. This has got to be top 5, this thing. I've never heard anything like it. It makes a lot of wild sounds. Here, I'll give you another one just for fun. I'll slow it down and turn it up. Oh, look out. Give me a break. That thing's just wild sounding. I've never heard a flanger like it. I don't even know where I got this thing, but somebody brought it to me and said, you gotta try this. It's called a hot cake. It's wonderful. That would be with the pedal off, but oh my God, let's turn it on. It sounds like in concert. That thing sounds ridiculous. And there's a switch on it. You know, there's a normal position, but in the mid boost. Oh my God, shut up. That thing sounds good. So this is a TC EQ. EQs and pedals are hard to come by, really good ones. And this seems to work really well. And if I turn it on. So I'm adding bass and I'm adding treble. It's two channels of parametric EQ. And when you're trying to change the tone of the bass or the guitar and you want to do it before the amp, you need something ahead of schedule, right? TC dual parametric equalizer. If you need an EQ, there it is. So this is a graphic fuzz. It's so old, the in and the outs are backwards. Now everything's in this side, out that side, but this one's backwards. It has a way of giving it a wah-wah pedal tone and a fuzz, but you can't really control the fuzz. You can only control the note of it. Just wild sounding. If you need something really different in a track, this is something to go for. It's a good sounding fuzz. It's made by Earth Sound Research. It's just, I think Tam sold this to me. It's just another wild pedal. This is a pedal called Tubeless. It was a present from Nobu, who's my friend in Japan. It's really a way of getting a thicker tone before a distorted amp, right? So. Kind of a medium gain thickener. I've got the tone control turned almost all the way up, which allows highs through, but still it's a really good sending pedal. It's very useful in the studio when you're trying to get a little bit thicker track. You can't put that on because that's copyrighted.
You could put that much of it on.
No, you can't. So here's an old Ibanez AD-80. It's a delay pedal. It's a very good sounding delay pedal. The delay doesn't have a lot of high end to it. It sounds like it's coming off the back wall in the concert hall. I think it's a good sounding pedal. I found that went, that's gonna work. So this is an MXR Blue Box, and the way a Blue Box works is it's distorting the sound, giving you kind of a fuzz, beautiful fuzz sound, and it's 2 octaves down. And the way they do it, I think, is it goes an octave down and then they do it again so it's 2 octaves down. This has been modified so it's only 1 octave down, and I really like the way this box sounds. It's a single note synthesizer box now. Kind of hard to control. The way you play changes whether it jumps an octave or not. Modified Blue Box. So this is a tuner pedal. I would not just call this top 5, I would call it number 1. Having a tuner pedal is really important. Obviously, you hit the button and tells you if the high E's in tune, which it was just then. So tuner pedals, number 1. Tune up. So here is another jam pedal. This is a Delay Llama. It's a very, very good sounding delay. Each time it delays, it takes a little bit of high end away. So I think it's like a real echo in a room where the delay is changing. That's what I hear. It's a musical device. It really, really, really good. There you go. Delay Llama. All right, everybody, top 5. Bit Commander. First time I plugged in this thing, I went nuts. And we've used it on tracks. It's wonderful. Turns the guitar into a synthesizer. It sounds like a Moog. And it's a pedal. It works great. So I was in Japan in Nobu's store, and I'd searched the entire place for something to buy. Couldn't find anything. And I find this under the counter. I said, "What's this, Nobu?" And he goes, "You might want to try it." So I go plug it in, and this is what I get. It sounded huge. It sounded like an amp. It's a good one. It's useful. You can use it with a clean amp and play distorted. You can use it as a pre-distortion device. It works. It works for tracks. It's just all flavors of good. This is an old DOD AB box. You plug the guitar in here, you hit the button, it comes out of one side, you hit the button, it comes out of the other side. It's basically a completely passive AB box and works like a charm. If you run video cable from this back to your amp, very low capacitance, doesn't change the tone of your guitar. I like this box, I use it. So I found this pedal in California. It's called a Vemuram, where I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I thought it sounded like an amp. I didn't think it sounded like a pedal. I don't really know much about who makes it or where it came from, but it's useful and it's got a nasty amp tone to it. I like it. Remember, the amp I'm playing through is clean as a whistle. It's just, and that thing's just nasty. This is a Golden Fleece. It's a Mythos pedal. Kenny Greenberg told me I need to get one. I didn't really know what he was talking about. He says, you gotta try the fuzz. You can't control the fuzz. You can't control the low end. You can't control the treble. It's a volume knob. That's all it is. But what a volume. Good sounding fuzz. Here's another pedal I found at the Vintage Guitar Show. It's an old DOD FET preamp pedal, and it's just got a beautiful front end tone. It's just big and nasty and perfect for just needing a preamp pedal. There's no switch on it. It's just a volume control. You either plug it in and use it or you don't. That little AB box that I had might work to turn it on and off. I just think it sounds good. The parts are rattling around inside. I haven't used it on a track yet, but I will. Kind of just adds a little girth, a little something to it. I like it. I wonder what it sounds like if I turn it up loud. I've never done that. Sounds good to me. So, this pedal was a present from Dusty Waring, and Dusty sent it, said I use it all the time, and it's a very good boost pedal. So if you turn it off, if you turn it down, it's just a buffer. Dark and then it brightens up a little bit. It's just a good sounding pedal. And there's another pedal I'm going to get into in a minute that's a present, but this came from Dusty and it'll be here forever. Top 5, top 5, top 5. I first saw one of these on David Grissom's pedal board. I said, what's that? He said, that's an Arion chorus pedal. I've had 3 or 4 of them. They keep disappearing because every time I get one, I give them away as presents, but I've kept this one. Give me a break. The thing sounds magical. And we'll plug this into other pedals and drive one with the other, and I just think it sounds great. There have been times where we didn't have time to hook the Leslie up, and we would get an Arion chorus pedal out and it sounded like a Leslie, and we were done. This is number 1. I said the tuner pedal was number 1, but this is number 1. So I'm in England, and I'm asking around for what do you got that's used. So I, go in and I introduce myself and, this, that, and the other. And he says, I've got a pedal that Jimmy Page used to own. And I went, now I don't know if this story's true. As the story goes, when Houses of Holy was over, this was a present from Jimmy Page to the pedal steel player. And I don't know if that is in fact the same pedal. But when I listen to the no quarter keyboard part, that's exactly what it sounds like to me. We use this pedal constantly. We'll plug the Arion chorus pedal into it. We'll plug guitars into it. We'll plug it into Leslie's. We use it mostly much more subtly like this. It adds a little air to the whole thing. This is number 1, the Mutron 2-knob Phasor. So here is another Pearl pedal. There are so many sounds in this thing. I've never really spent enough time with it to completely understand it. It was a present from Jez, who does a lot of our sales in England. He said, well, I've got this Pearl flanger at home I think you might like. And I said, go get it. When you turn a flanger on, very often they got dark, but and if I turn this thing on, all kinds of high end shows up. So it's wild sound. The thing's just wild sounding. So here's an original Boss flanger. The thing I think is important about this historically, it's before they started adding high end to these effects. So if you go, when you hit it, it's darker. And because it was darker, they started to add high end to them. Now, I would rather add my own high end on the amp, but I just think this thing sounds lovely. What I want is one of these early Boss chorus devices. Off. It's got more high end off. On the Arion chorus pedal, there's a knob for tone. You can figure out how much high end you want. But a lot of these pedals, you don't have control. There's not a knob on the front about how much high end you're adding. This thing doesn't add any, and I really like this pedal. It has a brother. Let me show it to you. This thing is so early, it doesn't even have a power supply hole. But it's a fuzz that you can't control how much fuzz you have. You can control the tone and the output level. The thing sounds heavy metal. It sounds great. It's one of the best fuzzes I've ever played through. But I know it'll end up on a track. It's an out-of-control fuzz, and you can change the tone. I mean, it's just got a musical tone to it. I'm sure I'm going to find a use for it. So this is a fuzz face, a Dunlop fuzz face, but it's a present from Eric Johnson. And that just makes me smile. So here we go. It's a fuzz face. You know, when you listen to Eric play, there it's in there, and he fell in love with it because Hendrix used one. It's big sounding. It's just big. It's not wheedly or small. It's just big. Oh, Eric, I adore the way you play. Oh my God. So this is a Sobbat Glow-Vibe. It has the same parts in it as an old Uni-Vibe. I found it in Japan, in Kyoto. It's a really good sounding device. It sounds just like an old Robin Trower record. Uni-Vibes have a darkness to them, and they're a phaser of sorts. I really like this thing. I think it sounds beautiful. I've been able to use it live. I've been able to use it in the studio. It has a way of being able to adjust the speed with your foot. It's one of the Uni-Vibes. There's another Uni-Vibe that Dustin made me, a blue one, that I want to show everybody. Well, we're getting near the end. This is a Dustin Sears Uni-Vibe. Dustin's a friend from Texas. He makes lots of Uni-Vibes. This is one of his handmade ones. This thing sounds. It's got a milky, beautiful tone to it. I adore the way this thing sounds. There's no on-off switch on it. When you're playing through it, you are playing through it. It's a Uni-Vibe. It has a pedal hook to it that decides how fast it goes back and forth. He took a wah wah pedal and changed it into the pedal for the Uni-Vibe. But it's a lovely sounding device. I really like it. The great Doug Shive gave this to me for Christmas. This is a Electro Harmonix speech synthesizer, something called a talking pedal. If I turn it on, there's a knob on the side that decides how much it talks. It's kind of a distortion knob. It's not really a wah-wah pedal. It's trying to make a vowel sound. It's so cool and so different that I love it, but I don't know how to use it yet. It's wild sounding. It's just different. The brightest part's in the middle. As you go down, it gets darker, which is backwards from a wah-wah pedal. It's kind of weird. Electro-Harmonix speech synthesizer talking pedal. It's really cool. All right, everybody, this is an original Clyde McCoy wah wah pedal. Clyde McCoy, from what I've heard, was a trumpet player. Wah, 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 wah. And that kind of started the wah wah thing. What I have on the floor is a VOX V846, which is kind of an industry standard in the 70s, you know. Wah wah pedals are very cool. They have their uses. Sometimes nothing else works. Sometimes you got to grab the wah and go for it because they work really well. There are 4 wah wah pedals in here, 2 Clyde McCoys, which were both presents. One from my friend at Bizarre Guitars and one from Eric Johnson, and the other 2 I bought. I remember talking to Eric and he said, "Have you ever played through a real Clyde McCoy one?" I said, "No." He goes, "Well, you need to." So this was a present. Kind of cool, right? Every time you plug one in, they sound different. They are a little different, every single one of them. The VOX one works really well distorted. I like it. That's why I plugged it in. We have one more pedal to do. So I know this doesn't look like a pedal, but it was a present from my friend Glenn. And it is a pedal. It just happens to be rack mount. Of all weird things, this is also a doubler. It's a beautiful sounding box. It's very gentle and full bandwidth and what you would expect out of a piece of rack mount gear, but go back to flanging. I mean, it almost sounds Leslie-like, but it's going around a corner in a regeneration way. I really like this thing. So look, these are pedals. They're very useful when you're in the studio and you need a sound. The inventiveness going on in our industry right now around pedals is unbelievable. And I like it. I think it's cool. Reminds me of guitar making, but more of an electronics thing. So there's the pedal collection, so to speak. I hope I didn't change the value of any of these things on the internet. See everybody, bye, it's Paul. By the way, there was a whole crew here filming this, and they like pedals as much as I do. Do you like pedals? 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 Wait, oh, Mark, you love pedals. That's not fair. Goodbye, everybody. See ya.